Well, we want to take some time to answer some of your email questions regarding finances on this Money Monday. And Pat, the first one is from Billy, who says, Pat, people have mentioned an $8,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers. My wife and I may be buying our first house this year. How does someone qualify to get that money?
Well, you qualify when you send in your tax return. You just list that as something, and it's a tax credit. It's a credit against the taxes you owe. And I'm not totally aware of whether you can backdate it, but you certainly, for example, if you buy a house last year, you bought it last year, you could file your taxes, your '08 taxes. If you're buying it this year, you could put it in. There's some, I've read that possibly if you buy a house this year, you could declare it on your '08 taxes. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but it's a tax credit. And a credit is dollar for dollar against the bill that you owe the government.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
This is Carlos, who says, I've been paying on my furniture for 4 years with 24% interest. I still owe about $4,000 since I only make minimum payments of $84. Would you recommend tapping into my 401k that only earns 6.5% interest to pay off the furniture and then pay back my 401k?
Basically, the answer would be yes. Normally, I would say don't ever do that. But here's the deal: if you're under 59 and a half years old, you're going to pay a penalty. You'll pay a 10% penalty, plus you'll pay ordinary income tax. I don't know what your taxes are. So you've got to allocate. I mean, do the math. It's just a question of the math involved. Would you be better off continue to pay? But I tell you, you ought to get that thing off, because it'll be 10 or 15 more years before you pay off that little bit of money, and instead of $4,000, you'll be paying probably $12,000. You need to pay that off fast, because that's a killer. As soon as you can. It's better not to take money out of a 401k because of the penalties, and also you lose the compounding. But again, get somebody who can do math and sit down and figure the numbers. That's where you've got to figure it out, and then figure how much will this be over the years. But once you take it out of the 401, it's kind of hard to get it back in there. But you'll pay the penalty for sure, plus the taxes. All right.
Okay, this is from Lenny, who says, people are already talking about high electricity prices for keeping houses cool this summer. Pat, do you have any suggestions for lowering electricity cooling costs this summer?
Oh, yeah, there are many suggestions. I tell you, the best one is to plant trees. The cooling effect of trees is remarkable. You know, they're like your own private air conditioning system. I think the thing you might do is cut down your air conditioning and get fans. One of the things that'll work very nicely is a big attic fan that'll suck air all through your house. A lot of people can use those even without having air conditioning, and it'll get a circulation going that will vent out the hot air. Another is, of course, to lower the blinds during the heat, especially on those windows that face sun, where the sun, I mean, those things are like radiators. So if you could lower the blinds, you're cutting out that part of the heat. So there are a number of things you can do, but these are some of them.
Okay, this is Lynn, who says, I'll be getting a $30,000 home equity loan for home repairs. I also have about 5 or 6 credit cards with balances on them totaling $11,000 with interest rates of about 19%. Do you think I should use the leftover home equity money to pay off my credit cards? I've heard you mention secured debt. Am I setting myself up for trouble?
Well, no more trouble than you're already getting when you've got a $30,000 home equity line. I mean, you're already got a secure number. Again, the advice primarily is don't use your home equity to pay off your living expenses. However, since you're already hooked and you're paying an unconscionable amount of money, 19%, think of that, divide 19 into 72, and it'll tell you how many years it takes for that debt you've got to double, and it's amazingly fast. 3 years or so, you're going to owe twice as much. So I think in your case, you'd probably be better to use the home equity line, and then as fast as you can, put some discipline on and pay it down. Get rid of the home equity, but you at least knock off that 19%. Maybe now you're paying 5% or 5.5%, 6%.
Right.
All right.
This is Sherry who says, Pat, we've bought gold tracks. We're also considering buying Treasury inflation protected securities. What are the benefits of TIPS? We have about $100,000 and are about 20 years from retirement.
Well, the tips are just what it says. It's the inflation protected. They they pay off in relation to the inflation rate, and they're not a bad investment along the way. I'm not sure I'd put everything into tips, but they are relatively safe. You'll get your money back, and these things are geared into inflation. So as inflation goes up, supposedly your principal rises with it. That's that's the concept. It's not gold tracks, it's street tracks, by the way, on the gold, but I really do think you should get some gold. I think that street tracks is one way of doing it. It's trades as a stock, but you know, each share is equivalent to roughly 1/10 of an ounce of gold.
Okay, this is Matthew who says, what do you think of buying international currency? What steps should I take to get started investing in foreign currencies?
Well, it's not a big deal. You can open an account. I think it's called EverBank. It used to be called Mark Twain Bank, but it's not called EverBank. It's out in St. Louis. And you just say, look, I want an account in yen. I got dollars, and here's $10,000, and I want it transferred into yen or Swiss francs or a combination. It's just no more simple. I mean, no more complicated than that. So you don't have to go into currency markets. And the average individual's got no business doing it because it's a snake pit. So, I mean, it's very volatile. You can really get caught, but you can, or any legitimate brokerage firm or bank like Bank of America. But we had an account with UBS and some idle money for one of our institutions, and I thought the dollar was going down, and so we split it between I believe it was Japanese yen and Swiss francs, and lo and behold, in a very short time, the fund appreciated about $1 million. It was real nice.
Wow!
But you're not buying them as such. You just put your account in those currencies instead of dollars, and you can switch back into dollars if you want to. It's simple, no penalty, no nothing. It's just the way you do it. But you need a bank that's sophisticated enough to know how to do it. I mean, your average community bank will know how to accomplish that.
So a larger bank would be more.
Well, or a brokerage firm. I mean, I had to sort of teach the account rep for a great big brokerage firm how to do it, but she was very pleased when she learned. But it's nothing to it. But that EverBank is one you should check on, and you could probably look on that on the internet and see how they do. But they're more than delighted to take foreign currency accounts. So you just leave your money in Australian dollars or whatever you feel is going to go up. But I mean, they go up and they go down, you know. Currencies fluctuate.